This is Hardcore Moments 103. Bro, 103 episodes of just like golden content. 103, boys. Let's hop into it.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
Invalid is targeting the succubus. Holy crap. This is the same spot that Peekaboo griefed his group on too.
I'm fast as fuck, boy!
It's the same thing. There's respawns. If you go too slow and you run back out manually, there's respawns. And if they're respawning all around you, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. F you, man.
So that was a lie.
Oh my god.
I saw a game and I thought it might be a good idea. It's this game Half Sword, and I saw Queso playing this and I thought about maybe trying it out today on stream and seeing what happens. Choose the level of displayed violence. Gentle violence, recommended for sensitive audience. Gruesome violence, realistic depiction of medieval combat, recommended for most players. Grotesque, unhinged brutality. You have been warned. Well, I wonder what we're gonna go with. Okay. Oh shit, is that me? How do I attack? Wait, I dropped my weapon. G?
Yes.
Did I win? I didn't. Bro, how do I attack? How do I attack? Mouse to swing? But it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Left click and swing. Oh, wait, I have to swing. Wait, I actually have to swing the mouse around. Fuck. Okay, I'll move back. You fucking piece of... Wait, why? Hold G to get... Wait. Well, what the fuck was that? Single combat. Fuck. Okay, I'll move back. You fucking piece of... Wait, why? Hold G to get... Wait. Well, what the fuck was that? Single combat. Okay. Oh, fuck. But how the... Dude, How... Where am I going? What? No, Can I... No. This is... I'm just getting this... Dude, haven't you had enough? This is... Wait. I just got destroyed. Wait, so, okay, so can I pick different characters? Okay, I want to be... But where's my... Where is it? Should be fine. It should be fine. Okay. It's bugged? Okay, it's fine. I've got it. Okay, I've got it here. Oh, he's dying. Come here, bitch. Come here. Wait, what? What do you mean he... No, no, hit. No, what are you doing? What are you... Stop it. Stop it. Get your arm up. Get your arm up. Get your arm up. Come on. Get up. Get up. Get up. Come on. You got it. There you go. There you go. Get his axe. Get right there with the axe. With the axe. Oh, there it is. You got it over there. Come on.
Imagine militants taking over the Grand Mosque in Mecca. Hard to believe, right? But around 40 years ago, that's exactly what happened. Hello, my friends. Let's unpack one of Saudi Arabia's most influential historical events that fundamentally transformed the Gulf State. The year is 1979, a turning point in the Muslim world. In Iran, a revolution is kicking off. A historical peace treaty between Egypt and Israel is being signed, and in Saudi Arabia, something just as momentous is happening. A group claiming to be led by a prophesied Islamic figure, the Mahdi, has invaded and captured the Grand Mosque, holding thousands hostage in the midst of gunfire and bombardment. This event would reshape the government and send ripples across the world. The siege began with a group known as Al-Jama al-Salafiyya al-Mutassiba, or simply JSL. The rebels declared the arrival of the Mahdi, a prophesied Islamic figure, and demanded to overthrow the Saudi government. Confusion and outrage spread throughout the Muslim world as the siege continued, with international accusations flying. The Saudis, restricted by religious limitations on violence within the mosque, eventually used French aid and tear gas to retake the holy site at the cost of many lives. But we should rewind a bit and meet Juhayman al-Utaybi, the mastermind of the siege. He came from an influential family. His grandfather, Sultan bin Bajad al-Utaybi, played a big part in uniting Saudi Arabia. But he clashed with the Saudi ruling family over the country becoming more westernized. His views deeply influenced Juhayman. So how did Juhayman al-Utaybi cross paths with the man he believed to be the Mahdi? While studying at the University of Medina, Juhayman was passionately advocating for a return to a more traditional form of Islam among the youth. It was during this period that he encountered Muhammad Abdullah al-Qahtani, also a student. What stood out to Juhayman wasn't just al-Qahtani's devoutness, it was how remarkably he resembled the Mahdi as described in Islamic hadith. This belief sparked concern among Saudi authorities, leading to significant arrests and made of many of al-Qahtani's supporters. So who is the Mahdi? The Mahdi is a key figure in Islamic beliefs, central to the end of the world prophecy. Signs preceding his arrival include societal upheavals, moral decay, and decline in reverence towards God. Juhayman decided to marry the sister of al-Qahtani, bounding himself to the apparent Mahdi by family. He didn't work alone. He gathered followers and funds, tapping into the tensions of a Saudi Arabia caught between modernizing and holding on to Islamic traditions. It was a nation at a crossroad, and Juhayman tapped into this tension. Now, add to this mix the revolution in Iran. which created momentum for a return to more conservative Islamic values. Juhayman leveraged his status as a member of a prominent Saudi family. He presented himself as a religious reformer, advocating for a strict interpretation of Islam to those who were dissatisfied with the Saudi government's policies. In their recruitment efforts, Juhayman and his followers spread their messages through mosques, study groups, and other religious gatherings, while also spreading propaganda to attract support. Through his actions, Juhayman built an estimated following of hundreds of people and acquired resources necessary for his attack on Mecca in 1979. So let's move on to the siege. The group infiltrated the Grand Mosque on the morning of the 20th of November, attending the morning prayer with weapons concealed under their clothes. Even more weapons and ammunition were hidden throughout the mosque, which were smuggled in days prior. The JSM members chained up the gates to the mosque, trapping thousands of people within it, with many people unable to speak Arabic, leaving them in a state of complete confusion. And over the speakers, the JSM announced the arrival of the Mahdi. They then took up defensive positions on the walls around the mosque, sniping security officers that were attempting to regain control. JSM cut communication lines, and so nobody from the outside knew what was really going on within the Grand Mosque. Rumors began to spread all over the Muslim world, with blame being shifted from country to country. The United States was quick to blame Iran, with the Iranian Revolution having only happened recently, while Iran shifted the blame back onto the United States, as well as Zionists. Protests and riots spread all over the Muslim world, for the holy city and the holiest site to all Muslims had been attacked. Considering that violence within the walls of the Grand Mosque was strictly forbidden, the Saudi army could not engage in battle with JSM. As soldiers continued to lose their lives in small-scale assaults, the clerics gave the fatwa, which is a ruling on a point of Islamic law, allowing the army to go in and fight. Al-Qahtani, the man who believed that he was the Mahdi, also apparently thought that he was invincible. Possibly to prove this to his followers and motivate them to fight the new waves of soldiers coming in, he stepped into open battle. However, his luck ran out shortly after, and he died, with many of his supporters witnessing this and giving up the will to fight. As the siege dragged on, the Grand Mosque became a grim scene. In a desperate move, Saudi Arabia called in experts from France's GIGN, elite officers skilled in resolving such crises. But this move sparked a new challenge. Non-Muslims entering Mecca, especially the Grand Mosque, is strictly forbidden. There seems to be multiple accounts of what actually happened at this point. A popular claim is that the GIGN officers had to convert to Islam before entering Mecca. Another account is that the officers never actually entered Mecca, instead training and assisting Saudi Arabian soldiers from the outside. Regardless of what actually happened at that point, the plan they came up with was straightforward. They drilled holes leading into the underground chambers where the JSM rebels were hiding. Through those holes, they gassed out the rebels, forcing them to come up to the surface. There, the rebels were bombarded with grenades and tear gas. Unfortunately, this plan led to the deaths of some of the hostages too. But it pushed the JSM into open spaces where they could be picked off by snipers. After a few more weeks of fighting, the rebels eventually gave up, as Juhayman and around 60 followers surrendered to the Saudi Arabian army.
3 minutes past 8, you're listening to AM. The siege at the Grand Mosque in Mecca is over. The authorities in Saudi Arabia have now crushed the uprising.
The guilty were then tried secretly and publicly executed in 8 different cities across Saudi Arabia. And after the dust settled, Saudi Arabia transformed and did turn towards a more conservative Islam. The country underwent a rigorous transformation. Gender segregation became pronounced. Women disappeared from television broadcasts, and entertainment outlets such as cinemas and music stores were shuttered. Educational curricula were revised to reflect a more religious outlook. This pivot towards conservatism was not merely a knee-jerk reaction to an isolated event, but reflected a deeper realization within the Saudi leadership. In this light, Juhayman's ideological goals paradoxically found a form of realization, albeit through the very government he sought to challenge. If you'd like to know when our next video as part of our religion series drops, subscribe to our channel, or leave a comment if there's any historical events that you want to learn more about.
Cybertruck suspect competed on the History. I saw this History Channel TV show. Look at this. This was the guy that blew himself up in the Cybertruck. He was on the History Channel.
It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Oh,
Matt and Tim.
that's Matt.
These special forces
It's like
better
Little's I think.
known as the Green Berets.
Matthew Livelsberger and his partner Tim Kennedy, both Green Berets, appeared on the Ultimate Soldier Challenge 12 years ago on the History Channel.
Man.
The other guys are still setting up. The Americans take their first shot at the sniper.
Holy
on the top
shit,
of the
look at
tower.
this. This is
Not only
crazy.
one,
Hard to
it
believe.
wasn't even close.
Wait, what?
Sniper on the top of the tower.
Not only one, it wasn't even close.
Who won?
Not only one, it wasn't even
That's
close.
right. He's better. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
You know, for television, they always try to make it a little bit more competitive, but we swept the whole entire show.
When he appeared on the show, Livelsberger used a shortened version of his name, Matt Berg. So it took Tim Kennedy a while to put 2 and 2 together.
It took about 12 hours of me seeing some photos as more photos started coming out of you know, who he was.
Oh shit, this is an interview with the guy. I just realized.
And then I saw
Like,
a
after
Matt
the fact.
Berg with a older photo of him, and I was like, oh no, dude, I know that guy.
This is the guy
And
that
it
he
just,
competed
like, tore
with.
my heart out because he was a really great Green Beret.
And what was he like?
He was charming, he was talented, he was personable, he was kind, he was all the things that you would expect from a Green Beret.
At one point during the show, Livelsberger had to stop taping in the 90+ degree heat. He was suffering from heat exhaustion.
John Bob.
Tim Kennedy said he hadn't heard from Livelsberger for a few years.
It just
I mean, I feel like, yeah. I don't think that has anything to do with it. Yeah, it's fucking hot. Like, I mean, wasn't this guy in Afghanistan or some shit? Like, easily assume that, like, yeah, he probably knows what that is.
Does not make sense. From everything that I have heard, he was universally valued by his team, by his peers. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. It's just horribly heartbreaking.
Holy shit, man. So this guy was on a History Channel, and he totally blew the fuck out of the competition.
You know, for television, they always try to make it a little bit more competitive, but we swept the whole entire show.
When he
Oh man, there it is. Yep. That wasn't him in the Cybertruck? Well, I don't know about that. I mean, is there any news that announced that? Let me see. Cybertruck explosion. Is there anything new about this? I don't think that there is, man. Let's see. History deepens. What is this? That we literally just watched this. Let's see. Notes. There's a wake-up call. I'll see if I can find this. There's maybe one more. Tragic case of suicide. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Investigation into the suspects behind the Cybertruck explosion outside President-elect Trump's Las Vegas hotel. The FBI searching for answers. ABC's Mullenweg has the latest.
Tucker Carlson knows the truth.
This morning,
of course
new
he does.
details behind this Cybertruck explosion outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Authorities say notes were found on a cell phone, recovered from the scene.
Damn.
Why did I personally do it now? I need to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I took.
Yeah, we saw that part before.
37-year-old Matthew Livelsberger, a highly decorated Green Beret, died by suicide while detonating explosives. Master Sergeant Livelsberger was on approved leave from his base in Germany. A senior U.S. official telling ABC News there had been no red flags. Authorities releasing these new surveillance images showing him...
So he's 30, he's 37. So that means he probably enlisted at like what? Basically like 18. So he was, that's why he was at 19 years. So this dude was 1 year away from retirement. At 17, damn. Damn.
A Tesla charging station as he made his way from Colorado to New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada. That Cybertruck rented via the app Turo. Livelsberger pulling into the hotel valet at 7:35 a.m. Wednesday before pulling out, returning an hour later. And then, just 17 seconds later, the explosion. 7 bystanders suffering minor injuries. Sources say Livelsberger was divorced and had recently remarried. His wife reportedly telling authorities he'd been out of the house in Colorado Springs since Christmas, following a dispute over alleged infidelity, while investigators say they found
Well, where's this guy?
No, I'm not gonna say it.
railing against the condition of the United States. They say the soldier held no animosity towards President-elect Trump.
The Army indicates that he likely...
There's no way he did. If he's trying to get that information to like that Pete Kesselsberg guy, I think, like who's gonna be like the incoming like Secretary of Defense, no fucking shot. Yeah, super unlikely. Read his manifesto.
Yes, really? We're also aware that there were potential other issues or personal grievances in his own life that may have been contributing factors.
For Good Morning America, Mullenweg, ABC News, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah, I might have missed something, but if he regretted the lives he took, why did he load the car with explosives and detonate it outside the building? I don't know. Yeah, did you watch the documentary of Sean Ryan? I have not. Yeah, ain't no way, bro. A lot simpler ways. Yeah, I have no idea. So the first Trump assassin and 2 on New Year's Eve. Well, the other guy was just driving over people in New Orleans. I feel like that's totally different situation, right? Completely different situation. Still makes no sense. Yeah, I would say so too. And so he's trying to send a message. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like a lot of people believe that it's something that's like super, it's like super specific and like he was like really lucid minded. I don't know, man. I don't think that people can just say that and you can assume that. According to Manifesto, he wanted people to pay attention, and people only pay attention when shit like this happens. Yeah, no, I think so, but it's like, I mean, that's true and it's not true, right?
We also have an update now on the deadly Cybertruck explosion outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Authorities say the soldier who died left a note saying it was a stunt to serve as a wake-up call for the country's ills. Investigators say Green Beret Matthew Livelsberger wrote in a note that he needed to cleanse his mind of the lives lost of people he knew and the lives he took. He also apparently had no ill will toward President-elect Donald Trump. Officials say Livelsberger shot and killed himself before the explosion, and it appears to be a tragic case of suicide involving a combat veteran who was struggling with PTSD.
Yeah, it's a fake note. A lot of people are saying the note was fake. Yeah, like people are saying that like basically the FBI planted it there to invalidate what he was actually trying to achieve, which was to basically like expose like government lies. Now, why would it be fake? Well, the reason why it would be fake is that there is an email that he leaked that was effectively like kind of giving people the inclination that he had a bunch of like crazy shit going on. Shoemaker lied. So you think that the guy lied? I don't know, man. I know a lot of people think that, but I just like I'm not sure. I'll watch one more. See if there's any more information about it.
Investigation into the man behind the Cybertruck explosion in Las Vegas on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Investigators finding letters on the phone of driver Matthew Livelsberger detailing his plans for the attack. Now, with his news reporter Tim Caputo is here now with
I'll watch
more
this video
on the
after.
former Army Green Beret's motive. Tim.
No,
David, he wrote it all down in his own words. The active duty Army soldier railed against America, saying we have a culture of weakness, we fight wars with no clear objective, and we obsess over things like diversity. And despite choosing to blow up a Tesla outside a Trump hotel, he supported the president-elect and Elon Musk.
What did he say originally?
America, saying we have a culture of weakness, we fight wars with no clear objective, and we obsess over things like diversity.
Right, and right. Yeah, true.
By choosing to blow up a Tesla outside a Trump hotel, he supported the president-elect and Elon Musk, but says his actions were meant to be a wake-up call.
Despite being badly damaged in the explosion and the fire, the charged cell phones belonging to Matthew Livelsberger gave investigators a clear picture of the 37-year-old's motive. In a series of notes on the phones, the U.S. Army Green Beret outlined political and personal grievances. Las Vegas police read some of the ramblings where he called the U.S. terminally ill and headed towards collapse.
This was not a terrorist attack, it was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles of violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives? Why did I personally do it now? I need to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I took.
Police also released several videos of Livelsberger on his route from Colorado to Nevada. He was only in Las Vegas about an hour Wednesday morning. Parked in front of the Trump International Hotel, and within seconds, he shot and killed himself in the truck and set off the explosion, which injured 7.
Although this incident is more public and more sensational than usual, it ultimately appears to be a tragic case of suicide involving a heavily decorated combat veteran who is struggling with PTSD and other issues.
Even though
I think that's probably true, and I don't think these are mutually exclusive. So like I think this guy might have known things that were like confidential, and they made him like stressed out and he wanted them to be exposed, but I think he probably also had PTSD. Like it was probably like I'm saying like one of them does not exclude the other.
Livelsberger and the suspect in the New Orleans terror attack were both stationed at the same Army base and both served in Afghanistan. The FBI now confirms it's all just a coincidence and firmly believes Livelsberger acted alone.
We've identified no telephonic or email communication between the subjects. No information that suggests that they knew each other.
So if you didn't identify any of that information, then what about the if you couldn't identify any communication, then how could you have identified that the communication that was delivered to a podcast was authentic? Am I crazy? That's confusing to me.
That they ever served in the same unit, that they were ever assigned at the same place at the same time, and had
maybe just because the details were
On
cross-referenced.
his phone, he called diversity, equity, and inclusion cancer. Academic.
Oh God! It could have been a viewer. Oh no! Wow. What is it with these guys, like this guy and Luigi? You guys need to stop blowing yourselves up and start running for office. Stop doing this shit. We'll vote for you. Stop fucking blowing yourself up.
Feds dig deeper into the Bronze Star recipient's dome, they're uncovering the true feelings of this decorated soldier, who apparently had shown no red flags, according to one senior U.S. Army official.
There is one cell phone that we are getting into, and I can tell you that we are barely scratching the surface.
In addition to those notes, authorities say they are aware of an email that was sent to podcast host the day before the blast, New Year's Eve, where Littlefinger talks about the drone sightings out in the Northeast and claims the FBI had been following him. Investigators do confirm they're aware of this email. They can't say with 100% certainty that he wrote it, but at this point, they do believe he did. David.
Incredible information, Tim. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more.
I don't know, man. I really don't know. It's like, how are ID cards identifiable? So you guys ever started a fire? I actually don't think it's as crazy as you might imagine. You ever try to burn a fucking book? That shit's hard to do. It's so hard to do because like you'll have like the top pages get burnt and then it'll insulate the middle pages. Like even if you burn letters, like my dad and I like we'll burn shit up pretty regularly. And so like we've had to burn up like, you know, a stack of papers and like you got to open it up. And so it burns like dog shit. Yeah, exactly. It's so annoying to burn this. So like basically you have like this massive incineration that happens and it incinerates all the surface area. And then you immediately are gonna have fucking sprinklers come on. You're gonna have the fire department come in. You're gonna have all this stuff done, and just use a shredder. No, that's we just burn it up. That's just what we do. And so anyway, substances lack oxygen. Exactly. And so like really. Yeah, missing the point? No, I'm not. I'm not missing the point at all. So he had a wallet, right? And so a wallet. What's a wallet like? Let's see, I get a sheet of paper, right? And so you get a wallet, and you do this to the wallet. I guarantee you, if I take this and I light this fucking book on fire, it will take at least 30 minutes, if not, it will not happen, just for these pages in the middle to be burned beyond recognition. You have no idea how many how many things I've lit on fire. Like, we used to do this every single year. Every single fucking year, we would go over to my house and we would open up the grill and everybody would bring their school papers over to my house and we would light everything on fire. I know this because we did it. We did it constantly. And so that's it. Burn the school books? Yeah, we did a few of them. Fuck them. Fuck them. That's it. And so, yeah, I hope this ages well. No, I'm being honest. Like, and anybody who's lit fires and tried to light shit like this on fire, can y'all confirm that I'm not crazy here? Like, leave no trace. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's really, yeah. No, exactly. You're right, yeah. So anybody, like, go try it. If you don't believe me, go take a stack of papers, fucking fold them over a couple times, light it on fire. Come back in 10 minutes, see what happens. That's it. It's not crazy. Yeah. Yeah, no, it makes sense. So, but I think that you guys bring up some good points. Now, how did they get the cell phone information? Because I would have assumed that the cell phone would be damaged from the heat. Like, not even from the fire damage, but from the heat, it would have damaged the internal system of the cell phone, the battery, right? I don't get that. I don't understand that. But there also could be a case where they could have, like, he could have had it saved on a cloud, or it could have been saved on, like, a server somewhere, and they were able to access it remotely, right? Like, yeah, cloud backup or something like that, memory card. Well, I would have thought it would have damaged the memory card. Personally, I would have assumed that it would damage the memory card, but I could be wrong. So yeah. And cloud auto storage, yeah, definitely. And especially Apple stuff, it was mostly on the cloud already. Yeah, definitely. The type of phone might not use the actual HDD. Yeah, I'm not sure. But either way, That's what my viewpoint on it is. I think it's really, really weird. Extremely fucking weird. And I don't know what's real and what's not.
This is the worst spot in the game. So some level X. There are no other mages, bro, so they're so freaking easy. This is a good Alright, this is a much better layer.
Yeah, it's so hard. The biggest difficulty is coping with all of the, oh man, it's such a tough job that the Israeli occupying force has, you know. Can we just reframe the conversation to the real victims here? Me. My feelings. What is this?
Civilians have been killed in Gaza, from what you know.
Who gives?
Okay, but don't you feel like, for example, children?
Children grow up to be Arabs.
את יודעת כמה חפים מפשע נהרגו בעזה? ואת לא רוצה לענות על זה?
תודה.
אוקיי, אתה יודע למה?
כי אני לא חושבת שיש מישהו שהוא חף פשע שם.
את יודעת כמה חפים מפשע...
It's so funny seeing these like otherwise lovely old ladies that look like they're probably kind to their immediate family members say such unrestricted Nazi-style politics, like demonstrate such rapacious, supremacist Nazi attitudes. It's crazy. It's a lovely aunt. And the lovely aunt is like, yeah, we should execute every child because then we'll teach the adults a lesson. Longer clip from the first woman here.
Civilians have been killed in Gaza, from what you know.
Who gives a shit?
Okay, but don't you feel like, for example, children?
Children grow up to be Arabs. I shouldn't say this. I know, I read the numbers last week. My memory died and went to heaven. I don't think children should suffer, but they're always casualties. And since they do a lot of pour-vu, that is the natural result.
You know, those Arabs, they breed like rabbits, an infestation.
Do you understand why the world is so angry? Because they keep seeing so...
Overall, the world.
Okay, this person, even recognizing that the world is angry, puts her as like one of the more progressive members of Israeli society, okay? I was gonna say, I'm suspecting that she will say it's because they're anti-Semitic, or like the talking tree here, okay? The dialogue tree goes into two directions here. Why do you think the world is angry then? Anti-Semitism is the, you know, average hardliner position, or they just simply don't understand the living conditions that we have here with Arabs.
Does not really understand what's going on here. They do not understand, grasp the concept that Israel was attacked. And Palestinians, there is no such thing as Palestinians. They're Arabs who have many countries to flee to and nobody wants them to. But if we do call them Palestinians, their parents use them as human shields to gain sympathy. The natural instinct of a Jewish mother is to protect her child. Palestinian women do not have that.
How do you know that?
From years of living here.
Can you give an example of something you've seen?
As I said, my memory died and went to heaven, but I read newspapers every single day, and I've read many different stories where the woman took her child and put her in front, and then she thought this is going to gain sympathy with her readers around the world, and it does.
Is this real? I find it really hard to believe that people are this blatantly evil. Dude, this doesn't register as evil in her mind, okay? That's what's so... This is what people don't ever comprehend, okay? From where we're standing, we hear this lady say some of the most horrifying things with ease, and we are shocked. In her mind, she thinks this is the most normal thing you could say. There is always a cycle of propaganda that must justify the horrifying actions that the state takes. There's so much literature on this. There's so much research dedicated to how, oftentimes also conducted by Jewish scholars, Jewish academics as well, many of which also are incredible supporters of Israel. Literally don't know the half of it. Brother, Jewish grandparents are notorious the most loving and kindest people you will meet, and make bomb-ass food and will always keep you fed majority of the time. Like, I know this lady gives the best hugs and makes bomb, but this is also the exact representation of how all my older Jewish relatives think. Yeah, that's why I'm saying that, like, I'm sure that she is otherwise not a psychopath, you know? Like, Ukrainians are Nazis? What? No one actually believes that, I don't think. That's like a really justification at best, that I don't even know if Russians believe that. I'm sure there are some Russians who do. She does not consider what she's saying to be evil, okay? In the same way that, like, the average Nazi Germany supporter, the average Nazi supporter in Germany did not consider the government to be evil. At most, they considered it to be a necessary evil. Let's see what this lady has to say.
נהרגו בעזה.
לא, זה גם לא מעניין אותי.
לא? למה?
לא מעניין אותי, אני...
How many...
It seems like a lot of people who don't like you do that, where they will deliberately misrepresent your position even if you tell them that's not what you're saying to their face. It's so strange. It's such a strange thing to say. Yeah, I don't know exactly what Corey Gil-Shuster's own personal opinion on Israel is, but I have watched his videos before, and they are very interesting.
את יודעת כמה חפים מפשע נהרגו בעזה?
לא, זה גם לא מעניין אותי.
לא? למה?
לא מעניין אותי, אני הייתי עד 7 באוקטובר האמנתי ב...
Germany as a country still exists. The Nazi ideology was largely defeated in the country. Most Germans have ancestors that fought for the Nazis but completely disavow their actions. Why do people not think this is possible for Zionism in Israel is such a funny take to have as a 25-month subscriber, as the AfD is rising up in popularity in Germany right now. And also, it is so patently ahistorical. For the past 25 months that you've subscribed, were you just like not paying attention? Anytime I've talked about German politics immediately in the aftermath of World War II and what German governance looked like, the Nazis were instantly brought back to power. Germany is probably the worst example to point to in terms of like comparing it to Zionism.
שלום ובשיח ובדו-שיח, אחרי זה הבנתי שאין עם מי לדבר, כולם שם מחבלים, לצערי הרב.
אבל ילדים, כאילו.
לא, אני אומרת בכנות, לא מעניין אותי.
אתה יודע כמה חפים מפשע נהרגו בעזה?
כן.
כמה?
כמה מדווחים או 35,000?
מה אתה חושב?
35,000, 30,000.
אני דווקא באום, זה פחות. 16,000.
16,000.
אוקיי.
It is actually less when filmed. Wait, what?
אתה מבין למה העולם כועס על ישראל?
כן, בטח.
אז מה אפשר לעשות?
פשוט לא להתייחס, פשוט להיכנס ברמב"ם.
אוקיי.
כמו לשפוט בני זוג מהצד, איך הם רבים, איך הם זה. תהיה בתוכה בזוגיות ובלבל את השכל. שיש הרבה קטנה.
את יודעת כמה חפים מפשע נהרגו בעזה?
טוב, תודה שנעצור.
את לא רוצה לענות על זה?
תודה.
אוקיי, אפשר לשאול למה?
אני לא חושבת שיש מישהו שחף פשע שם. צר.
אבל מה, ילדים אבל, נגיד.
הילדים מסכנים, אין ספק, אבל הם לא יגדלו להיות ילדים חפים מפשע, לצערי.
Oh, it's sad though. Sadly, all those kids are gonna do murder.
החינוך, לדעתי, הכל מתחיל בחינוך. ואם החינוך הוא בעיה.
Projection. The assumption that Palestinians need to be taught in school to hate Israel is projection. Projection that Israelis actually need to be taught to hate Palestinians through every orifice of Israeli society, Israeli culture, and Israeli education. It's pure projection. Palestinians learn to hate Israel not in school. Palestinians learn to hate Israel when Israel bombs the school, when Israel bombs your house, when Israel bombs and kills your immediate family members. And that's an understandable anger that people have. So that's why a lot of this kind of, they're being taught to hate Jews or whatever the is very silly.
מה אפשר לעשות עם זה? כאילו, מה אפשר נגד זה?
לדעתי, להכניס שם ארגון ששונה את התוכן של החינוך, וברגע שיחליפו את התוכן של החינוך, ושלא יהיה מצב שבו החינוך יהיה רק כדי להרוג יהודים, או שנאה, אז יהיה שינוי. כל עוד המצב הוא כמו שהוא היום, לצערי המצב לא ישתנה.
אתה יודע כמה חפים מפשע נהרגו בעזה?
15,000, 20,000?
זה משהו כמו 40,000 לפי...
40,000,
אוקיי. ואתה מבין למה העולם כועסים על ישראל?
כן, אני מבין.
למה?
כי הם חושבים שיש פה ג'נוסייד.
אוקיי, ומה אתה חושב?
אני חושב שמי שלא היה פה, מי שלא ביקר פה, אין לו זכות לדבר, קודם כל. מי שלא חווה מה ש...
You gotta come taste the genocide in order to have an opinion on it, you know?
אני לא חושב שיש אף מדינה בעולם שזורקים עליה טילים, שמבצעים פיגועים בתוך הארץ, שככה על ימין ועל שמאל, בכללי אין צד צודק ואין לא. בכללי ישראל היא יותר השפויים, כי אנחנו לא מחפשים את המוות. אנחנו לא נחיות בשלום. אנחנו עשינו שלום עם סוריה, עם מצרים, עם ירדן.
לא עשינו עם סוריה, אבל בסדר, עוד לא.
He said we didn't make peace with Syria.
כמו שהמשפט אומר, ברגע שנניח את נשקנו, לא תהיה ישראל, ברגע שהם יניחו את נשקם, יהיה שלום.
Okay. How many civilians have been killed in Gaza, from what you know? Okay, but don't you feel like, for example...
I wonder if that applies for us Americans who are funding this thing we can't talk about. I mean, dude, the reality is, America post 9/11, you know, if you ask them, should we kill every Muslim on the planet? There's a button to press to kill every Muslim on the planet. You'd be shocked at the results. Every country has some, I wouldn't say universal moral principles, but most people operate in a similar framework, you know? That's it.
Children?
Children grow up to be Arabs. I shouldn't say this. I know, I read the numbers last week. My memory died and went to heaven. I don't think children should suffer, but they're always casualties. And since they do a lot of pruervu, that is the natural result.
Do you understand why the world is so angry? Because they keep seeing so...
Overall, the world does not really understand what's going on here. They do not understand, grasp the concept that Israel is active. And Palestinians, there is no such thing as Palestinians. They're Arabs.
No such thing.
Who have many countries to flee to and nobody wants them to. But if we do call them Palestinians, their parents use them as human shields to gain sympathy. The natural instinct of a Jewish mother is to protect her child. Palestinian women do not have that.
How do you know this?
From years of living here.
Can you give an example of something you've seen?
As I said, my memory died and went to heaven, but I read newspapers every single day, and I've read many different stories where the woman took her child and put her in front, and then she thought this is going to gain sympathy with her readers around the world. And it does. It is successful for them.
Do you know how many civilians have been killed in Gaza?
I know the rumor is talking about 50,000, but I know, I'm also informed that the formal number is a little lower than that.
The formal number is around 42 now. That's 42? The last I heard, yeah. Do you understand why the world is angry?
At us?
Yes.
Yeah, but I think they're wrong, and I can actually explain.
Explain.
If you have a minute. I think that basically the terror regime in Gaza and all the countries around us, so they also govern the people, and they also they deny them from aid, first of all, and they also kept hostages in Gaza by the Hamas, because basically the Hamas won't let them leave because they are living targets. Okay. So I think I do want to side, but not from us, from the Hamas.
So meaning if they were allowed to leave to go to Egypt, let's say, because Israel's not going to take them in, obviously. So if they're allowed to go to Egypt, Egypt would let them...
Obviously. Yeah, put these Arabs somewhere else. Another Arab country, you know? It's just the same.
Far fewer people would be killed. That's what you mean?
Yeah, Egypt and Jordan, they should definitely go there. And by the way, Egypt already had the chance to take on Gaza, but eventually they decided not, and this is how it became our problem. But then again, I don't think that we should solve it anymore, because you're not supposed to solve your enemy's problems. So it's up to them, and the Arabs should be more willing to accept them.
Okay, but don't you think Israel has a moral responsibility?
It's a difficult question, because I really think that war has. I think that the Western world probably is not aware of like what war means, actually. And I think that again, the taking care of your own enemies is a little bit it's conflicting, you know.
It's not our fault that we are stronger than them.
Yeah, it's also not our fault that we defend ourselves. We have every right to defend ourselves. So that's what I think. Yeah.
Anyone else have anything to say?
Yeah, free Palestine from Hamas, and don't hate us Jews. We're really nice people, and we love life.
We want peace.
We just want peace, love, and rock and roll. Yeah, man.
Wait, and you're willing to have peace with Palestinians?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, anytime.
Anytime.
Send anybody, anywhere. If they want peace, we want it.
Do you know how many civilians have been killed in Gaza?
You know, okay, one moment. No, I don't know exactly, but I don't want to ask that kind of question.
No? Okay. Can I ask why?
No, don't take the pictures.
רגע, אני לא רוצה אוקיי, אז מה רצית להגיד?
מה שרציתי להגיד שיכול להיות שאנשים מתעניינים כמה פלסטינאים נהרגים או דברים כאלה, אבל לא כל האנשים שואלים כמה ישראלים נהרגו, או זה לא רק עניין של להיהרג ממש, אין כמעט ישראלי שלא נפגע. לא מהמלחמה הזו, לא רק מהמלחמה הזו, אלא למעשה במהלך כל השנים האלה. והפגיעות הן נפשיות גם, הפגיעות הן לא רק של ישראלים ספציפית, אלא גם בכל העולם. הם סובלים פשוט גם מאנטישמיות.
על יהודים בכל העולם.
על לא עוול בכפם, וגם יש להם דיסאינפורמציה מאוד גדולה בכל מה שקשור לפלסטינאים. מה שקורה, שמה שעושים, שאף אחד לא מתעניין בחו"ל.
I like that she did in real time the translate Hebrew tweet meme. Like, she was like, I don't want to talk, and then was like, never mind, let me spit some truth at you right now, real quick.
כמה ילדים לא ישנו בלילה, כמה ילדים עשו פיפי בגלל שהם שומעים את החדשות, ואני לא מדברת רק על המלחמה. תאר לעצמך קודם כל מה הילדים מרגישים וחושבים אחרי 7 לאוקטובר. ומה הילדים חושבים ומה קורה לילדים שהם שומרים על כל הרציחות האלה ועל כל הטרוריזם הזה שקורה. אז ככה שאי אפשר להשוות את זה, וכל מה שקשור לכמה פלסטינאים נהרגו, תשאל את חמאס שהם מתעניינו כמה אנשים וכמה ילדים נהרגים, כי זה בגללם, ושלא יתחבאו מתחת האדמה ושלא יתחבאו
It's like so funny that even if you were to put it on the same moral playing field, which I don't think like a colonial occupant and those who seek emancipation from said colonial occupation are on the same moral playing field at all. But even if you were to place it on the same moral playing field, it's like Israel's still the bad guy in that situation. That's why so much of Hasbara and so much of the defense of Israel's actions that revolve around, dehumanizing Palestinians is oftentimes attributing to Palestinians the crimes of Israel. Like, it always sounds insane when you hear someone who defends it always sounds so insane if you're knowledgeable of the situation, where every accusation is a confession of Israel's crimes, which is ironic because then it turns around and basically justifies Hamas. Because if you're justifying violent action, unlimited violence against an organization, a unit, a military force, a militant force that has done these atrocities, then you're literally justifying October 7. You're justifying more than October 7, which is what Israel is doing to Gaza already.
אחרי האזרחים פלסטינאים, אוקיי? וחוץ מזה גם מה שקורה עם פלסטינאים, הם בעצמם גם לא צריכים להרשות את זה. זה בעצם מה שהם עושים, אם הם נותנים, למרות שאני מבינה שגם הם מפחדים. אבל כל מה שקורה זה אי אפשר להתייחס לזה שישראלים פוגעים בפלסטינאים. זה לא בא משם, זה מתחיל מזה, זה מתחיל מכל הפעולות של טרוריזם, של טרור, ומשם זה בא. ככה שאי אפשר
לחלק את זה לשניים. כל עם ישראל נפגע, זה לא רק משפחות של חטופים, לא רק משפחות שנרצחים וכל המשפחות שחיילים שלהם נהרגו. פשוט מאוד חשוב לדעת שהצבא הישראלי הוא לא הולך והורג פלסטינאים רק בגלל שבא להם בשביל לרצוח, לא הולכים לשם בשביל לרצוח. הם מודיעים מראש, הם גם זורקים להם מהמטוסים פתקים שמזהירים אותם אם יש מקומות שהם הולכים להפציץ שהם יודעים שזה נשק. שום צבא בעולם לא עושה את זה. ואיזה צבא כן יכול להתמודד עם זה כמו שצבא שלנו מתמודד. האזרחים שנמצאים בלב
Yeah, it's so hard. The biggest difficulty is coping with all of the death of children, you know. Oh man, it's such a tough job that the Israeli occupying force has, you know. Can we just reframe the conversation to the real victims here? Me, my feelings, the feelings of people who have done untold atrocities, countless atrocities.
מקום שנמצאים שם טרוריסטים והנשק, איך אפשר להתמודד עם זה בצורה אחרת? לכן נפגעים גם האנשים. הצבא שלנו הוא הכי מוסרי בעולם, ככה שפשוט חשוב שידעו, שום צבא בעולם לא עושה את זה. וגם איזה צבא בעולם, תגיד לי בבקשה, נותן סיוע הומניטרי במהלך המלחמה לאויב שבא לרצוח ולטבוח ולאנוס. שום צבא בעולם. החיילים שלנו הם הכי הומניים. פשוט חשוב שידעו את זה. הם לא באים לרצוח, הם רוצים רק להגן על מדינת ישראל ועל האזרחים שלהם.
Do you know how many civilians have been killed in Gaza?
I don't know the exact amount, but I think it's around 20 to 25K. I think something like
According to Bibi and according to the UN, it's around 16,000. That was the latest thing.
Okay.
Do you understand why internationally the people are very disturbed by this?
Yeah, I do, because they don't really understand why it's happening. They just see it. They scroll on Twitter or whatever it is. They just see it. They see the facts, and they don't understand why it's happening. They don't really get the bigger picture of the story.
So what is that?
And the bigger picture of the story is, everything is happening because of a group, a little violent, called Hamas. Basically everything is happening because of that. They started everything. They have always wanted war. Israelis never want war. We don't want it.
Never. It just happens to be that way, it's crazy.
We even barely wanted to start this war after what happened. Do you know what I mean? And that's basically.
Does it bother you there are so many civilians getting killed?
Listen, my brother has been inside the Gaza Strip for around 4.5 months. So I know a little bit more than usual people around Israel. But listen, most of the kids there that are getting killed, I never support little children dying. I never want it. But if you look at the bigger picture, which is I don't want to look at it like that. Sorry about that.
You never want children to die, but some children have bad vibes, They just happen to be Palestinian.
My French. Most of them will grow up not to hate Israel. I don't really care if you hate Israel, because most of the world hates Israel. But most of them will grow up not only supporting Hamas, which is a crime by itself, but joining them, which is the worst of the worst. Listen, what happened a couple of years ago with Gilad Shalit, we took one soldier that was held captive for around 1,000 prisoners, and most of those prisoners are the cause of what happened on the 10th of October. So we don't know what will happen, in years to come, if we'll keep doing it, right? But at the end of the day, I think that a kid running around shouldn't die, right?
Shooting what?
Shouldn't die.
Oh, shouldn't die.
He shouldn't die. That being said, I don't know what it will grow up to. Most of them, like around 75-ish%, despise Israel with everything that they hate about the world. Like, they hate everything about Israel. They don't want anything to do with us. They want us all dead, gone, and fucking, you know, they want my head on a spike. And I have never done anything bad ever to any person. Even though I did serve in the IDF for 3 years. I did do it, but...
Did you serve in the West Bank or Gaza?
No, I didn't. I served at the... I don't know if I want to say.
You don't have to say. It's okay.
I'll say it, I don't care. I served at the Iron Dome. And the Iron Dome is only about defense. It's not about attack. Which is why I wanted to serve there. You know, even though it was kind of, you know, mentally tough. But it's all about defense. It's all about defending your own family, you know? There's rockets flying above your family. All you want is that to stop it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if you look at it like that, that's what I mean.
You were asked very quickly, all these civilian deaths are going to create more people who hate Israel who want more killed. Aren't you thinking about that? What's your response?
Listen, I think that as soon as more Hamas terrorists die, they'll bring much less war. Even if the exchange is 1 or 2 Hamas terrorists for at least 4 civilians, I don't want it to happen. I don't want civilians to die. Nobody does. That's what happens in war, you know? There's no war without civilians dying. And the quickest way to end the war is to just terminate as many terrorists as we can. It doesn't matter. So Hamas needs to just get wiped off the map. Doesn't matter how it is. They are literally just devils walking around us. They're not even human beings, in my opinion. All they see in their head is just eliminating every single human being that doesn't support, you know, Islam, that's not Islamic, that's not Muslim. You know, there's different perspectives to that. You know, not everyone in the world is gonna be Muslim, no matter how you try. So, that's just an act of terrorism. And that's it, I think.
Somebody coming in, we're going to get killed? No, we're not. Okay, hi everybody. I'm glad you got to this point in the video, which means you got to the end. I really need your help.
Of course, the final point of most of these conversations arrive at, yeah, actually it's good that we're doing all this. You have to feel that way, otherwise you would go crazy. You would try to overthrow your government. And all of this violence, all of these violent desires make it so that Israeli society can be dominated by some of the worst right-wing forces without the population ever understanding what's happening to them. Now, it might not be, it's nowhere near as consequential as just like wholesale destruction and death, but this is something that already happened in like 2018 and will continue to escalate and will continue to get worse for Israeli society, as many Israelis refuse to understand why the world feels the way that they do about Israel, and why the worst dip right-wing assholes continue to control the government and even take away some of the social liberties that they might enjoy. You can't dismantle the right-wing reactionary forces as a liberal Zionist without looking at how those reactionary right-wing forces end up seizing power in your society. They seize that power by continuing to do unlimited violence.
such a long travel time when I get here.
Asmongold helped this man regain control of his life. What is this?
Sometimes
Asmongold changed my life. What the fuck?
Sometimes we find inspiration in the most unexpected places.
Okay.
For me, it was through the videos of a YouTuber and Twitch streamer named Asmongold.
That's me.
His raw honesty and unfiltered commentary were the catalyst for a transformation I never thought possible. This is a story of how his words resonated with me during one of the darkest periods of my life and inspired me to reclaim control. This is about a man who struggled with mental illness, familial separation, and years of self-loathing. This is about how I found hope, strength, and purpose in Asmongold's message and took actionable steps to change my life. Chapter 1. A broken family and a broken spirit. 11 years without my mom. My story begins with a family torn apart. When I was a teenager, my stepfather's failing business in the Philippines forced my mom to make a heartbreaking decision to work abroad and support us. She found a job as a carer and later as a healthcare assistant for the NHS in the UK.
Good for her.
For 11 years we were separated. I grew up without her hugs, her
That
guidance,
sucks, man.
and her comforting presence. Her absence left a void in my life,
That
but
really
I knew
sucks.
she was sacrificing everything to provide for me. She endured sleepless nights, working long shifts, sometimes without rest for days, just to pay for my education. She carried the weight of 2 worlds on her shoulders, a family across oceans and a grueling job in a foreign land,
Yeah, it would suck.
battling mental illness. In 2016, at the age of 21, my life took a devastating turn. I experienced my first manic episode, followed by 2 more over the next 2 years.
well, yeah.
I was diagnosed with bipolar 1 disorder with psychotic features, a condition that would shape the next several years of my life. The illness robbed me of stability, relationships, and a sense of worth. 2016 to 2021, I lived alone in a small apartment, consumed by depression and hopelessness. Every day was a battle to finish my studies while grappling with the belief.
It's crazy how many guys have to deal with this shit, and I feel like there's not enough of a support system for guys that are in this situation. And I think that these support systems that do exist are like extremely fucking toxic, where it's like, oh, well, the reason why you're living this way, it's because of, you know, women are hoes, or like it's because of the Jews, or it's because of, you know, like some other thing. And there's not really there's not a positive message out there, right?
That I would
The man of the years. Yeah, no, it
Chapter
sucks.
2, the long road to reunification.
Yeah.
Fighting for a new beginning. Despite the darkness, I held on to one dream, reuniting with my mom. I researched ways to leave the Philippines and discovered the adult-dependent visa route to the UK. It was our ticket to being together again, but the journey was anything but smooth. We faced 3 visa rejections.
Just keep doing it.
Tourist, student, and even the adult-dependent visa itself. Each rejection felt like a dagger to the heart, but we refused to give up.
So how is it that this guy can't go over there just to spend time with his mom, but I go over to the UK and there's people that are like doing these like weird rape gangs and like stabbings all the time? I feel like the system that they have, there's something wrong with it. Yeah, there's something that's not, ooh.
Finally, in 2021,
Little interesting,
after a
huh?
long, arduous appeal process, we won. Reunited but not whole. When I arrived in the UK, my mom was overjoyed. But her joy turned to concern when she saw me. I was unkempt, overweight, and a shadow of the person she remembered. Despite being together again, my depression lingered. I even confessed to her that if she were to die, I'd have no reason to live.
Sure.
Chapter 3, The Turning Point. A toxic environment. Living with my mom's toxic husband made our home life unbearable. For nearly 3 years, his hostility and constant complaints created a tense and stressful environment. Despite my attempts to show love and gratitude, even thanking him for taking care of my mom, he remained antagonistic. One day, we even shouted at each other, a culmination of years of suppressed frustration. By December 2024, my mom and I had had enough. We moved out to start fresh, free from the toxicity that had plagued our lives. But the real transformation began months earlier, in March 2024, when I stumbled upon 2 videos by Asmongold. The first video, they said lose weight, he said okay.
They said lose weight, he says okay. Like he doesn't go on Twitter.